One of the few feats of modern man has been the eradication of a disease that has ravaged us for millennia. Smallpox. Smallpox, we officially eradicated uh, back in the 70s. What we did, the UN, with strong backing by us, by the US, go us, was go and hit as many people as possible with a vaccine. Go and vaccinate as many people as possible all over the world. Not only North America and Europe, but they went everywhere. All the South American countries, African countries, Asian, all the Asian, the Pan-Pacific islands. As many people as possible, not everybody, but as many people as possible, receive the smallpox vaccine so that we can sit there and officially say we now have herd immunity. So we consider this one to be a disease of the past. But, and that's a big but it may be getting back out there. Counter to international agreements. Some countries, Russia, US, Europe, England, I forget who else, were looking into biological weapons. US military says they were doing it because other countries were doing it, so to be able to defend against it, you have to have the weapon to know what it does, to be able to come up with defenses, to be able to come up with treatments for. The Russians, on the other hand, or the Soviets at the time, sorry, this is Cold War, the Soviets basically, for all intents and purposes, just let it be known they were developing weapons. Yes, they claimed that they're coming up with treatments, but they didn't come up with very many treatments. They just come up with very many ways to weaponize smallpox. Here's the thing, though. With the fall of the Iron Curtain in 89 and the early 90s, these institutes in some of the Eastern European countries and in what is now Russia again, these institutes ran out of money, had very slack security, and they are now missing some of the smallpox. These little weaponized smallpox samples that they had. So we don't know. It now may be a thing of bioterrorism for the future. We'll have to wait and see. And it scares us because smallpox, as I said, has been around forever. You get this weird fever, malaise. It's kind of like, oh, I think I'm getting the flu. And the next thing you know, you get a rash that covers everywhere. It starts at the face, the head, down the neck to the chest, the abdomen, or across your back, and then out to the limbs. The different rash is going to be macular, papular, vesicular, pustular. All the different types of fluid-filled sacs that you could get in your skin will be here. They will crust over, and once they heal, they will leave a scar. Sometimes it's just a surface scar, other times it's a pitted scar. The severity is going to be determined on whether or not you have variola major or variola minor. Variola major, highly virulent, gets into the bloodstream, causes toxemia. Again, enzymemia, so it's into the bloodstream, goes everywhere in the body, starts infecting everywhere in the body, will lead to shock. A lot of people think shock, that's not a big deal. I'm not talking shock like, oh my God, I was scared, I was shocked. No, we're talking clinical shock. That means that your heart rate will crash, or sorry, your heart rate will skyrocket, your blood pressure crashes, because all of the blood vessels, the arteries, the veins, will all widen at the same time, so your blood volume dangerously decreases. Also end up with what they refer to as intravascular coagulation. Your blood starts to clot, filling up your arteries, your veins. As you, the patient, when you see clinical, from what they've been able to record, sorry, tongue-tied here, clinical presentation of patients from what's been recorded is that the rash is actually going to start at the mouth, spread out the face, the head, down. Severe abdominal and back pain is due to the virus being in the bloodstream. The virus actually infecting the lung tissues, the gastrointestinal tract. You will end up with the pustules, the vesicles, and all that type of stuff, head to toe, all of your skin, in your mouth, in your nose, in your eyes, down your throat, into your lungs, down your esophagus, everywhere. So when you look at, it looks kind of mild for, if you just look at it as, just an instant in time initially. But when you look at the severity and how quickly things progress, third, fourth day, you already have the rash that's spreading everywhere. 2 weeks, the lesions all over the body are starting to crust over, scab over, fall off, leaving pock marks. The problem is that scabbing over and those pock marks not only isn't the skin, but it's the lining of the mouth, the lining of the lungs, the lining of your throat. More often than not, as these vesicles and those pustules and all those things break open, and the fluid leaks out and spreads across the skin, it's going to open up the skin and the underlying dermal layers to a secondary bacterial infection, leading to bacteremia. Variola minor is, well, like the name says, it's a minor version of this, not as severe. The rash is going to be less dense. It's still going to be everywhere. Still going to get the pustules and the vesicles and everywhere. Still going to get the scarring. But death due to smallpox for patients with variola minor is a lower percentage as compared to variola major. The variola virus, whether you're talking the major virus or the minor virus, these are all part of the orthopox virus family. Okay, they're all enveloped viruses. Remember, enveloped viruses. One goes in, hundreds, maybe thousands come out, and each one coming out is going to pull off part of the cell's cytoplasmic membrane as a new coating, a new envelope. Transmission is going to be droplets, respiratory droplets. Can also be skin-to-skin contact, you touching the pustules, or touching the bedding or clothing of somebody who had active smallpox, and the pustules burst open and that fluid got onto the clothes, and then you put the clothes on and that rubs on your skin. These weren't outbreaks of smallpox. Okay, this used to be what they referred to as endemic. Endemic means everybody in a given area will be exposed to it. It's just one of those things, a part of life. 10 to 15 million people every year were getting this. 2 million were dying from it. So that's either 1 in 5 or 1 in 7 were dying due to smallpox. Took 11 years, and I'm sorry I said 1976 to 1977, that we officially eradicated. 11 years of going to every little town, every little village, every hut we could find, and vaccinating.